Hello and welcome to GlitchCube, we're a gaming podcast, and each week we take a deeper look into the art of video games. As always, I'm Christian.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome back, everybody. Thank you guys once again for joining us as we dive further into the world of games. So this week we are going to be celebrating our Game of the Month book club with Mega Man Legends. That was June's Game of the Month, and then later on at the end of the episode, we will let you guys know what Augustus's game. It's Augustus Gloop. We're going to be playing Willy Wonka from the original SNES. No, just kidding. Can you imagine? That'd be rad. That'd be so weird. A 8-bit Willy Wonka fucking fever dream. Hell yeah.
That'd be kind of sweet, actually.
Wait, why isn't that a thing? Wait. I would totally play that.
Let's make it a thing.
That'd be awesome. Just a full-on, can you imagine 8-bit, trippy, psychedelic, just like nightmare fuel, candy, sugar rush thing? That sounds really fun, actually. And each stage is different things and all. Anyway, all right, that tangent. Today we're going to be talking about all things Mega Man Legends. So we have Mega Man Legends 1, 2, and Tron Bonne, that little game there, the prequel to Mega Man Legends as well. This game is a major departure from the typical Mega Man series, right? It was their first adventure into the 3D environment as well. And some people even say that it was N64's prototype into Ocarina of Time, which I thought was actually really interesting. It's more like a proof of concept to see if the N64 could handle some of those 3D environments as well, which we know it did, and it did very well. So I thought that was an interesting little side note there that I was reading about the Legends games, that it got ported over to the 64 because of that. They were trying to test the 3D environment of the N64. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. Little thing there. But the Legends games is interesting. It's definitely a game series that I remember looking at the game box at Blockbuster from when I was a kid and just being infatuated by it. I thought it was the coolest looking thing, but for some reason I just never ended up picking it up and decided to play through it last month, and I'm pleasantly surprised. Mega Man Legends is an interesting game. It is really fun. I will say you can definitely feel the age, but we'll get into the story, the aesthetics, some of the movements, the mechanics, things like that. The good, the bad, and all the stuff in between when it comes to Mega Man Legends. But yeah, I mean, quick synopsis. I mean, I thought it was pretty fun, right? It is a very different story than what you're probably used to when it comes to a Mega Man game. Right, this is set 1,000 years in the future, and it's basically humanity no longer exists. There is some timeline things that you can look at where it seems like it is following the main timeline of Mega Man itself, but you're not playing that Mega Man. Okay, just so people know, a lot of main characters are not a part of this, like Dr. Light and things like that, because humanity no longer is alive on this world. And you can see that evolution through the other Mega Man games, where these sentient robots are basically becoming a thing in the first Mega Man, and then they start progressing and going forward more and more throughout all the games. So you get X, you get Zero, all that kind of stuff. And then now you have Legends, where the quote-unquote human race is called Carbons, where they are a hybrid between machine and human, where you cannot tell the difference between the two at all. So you wouldn't really know. So that's kind of the whole premise there. Now, you play as Mega Man with Roll and Tote, Roll Casket, right? And you are Mega Man Volnutt, I think is the name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're a digger. So you're Volnutt the Digger. You are just looking through excavation sites, basically, a bunch of ruins, and that's where like the dungeon crawler aspect comes into play with the Mega Man Legends games. That's the main core of the combat is in these little dungeon areas. There's some fight scenes or boss fights thrown in. There's a lot of comedy. There's a lot of humor in this game. The art style plays to that, very anime style, very lighthearted aesthetic across the board. But I think that's what made it the most interesting thing whenever we were playing through it. But yeah, I mean, what were your... Because I know you played through Mega Man Legends before this book club, but what were your thoughts about it now? Does it hold up, right? Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the mechanics and things like that.
Yeah, so backstory, I played the 64 version, which is, as anyone that is a fan of the series knows, is the worst one to play because it has a lot of things missing, right? It has like dialogue missing, it has different sound. It just is, the PlayStation is the better version. But I played the 64 version as a kid, loved it. And then I had played the Tron Bonne game as well as a kid and absolutely loved it. To the point where for a long time I kept thinking it was my favorite PlayStation non-RPG game. And, for this episode, I replayed that game and played 2, and I kind of went back over 1 a little bit too, just to refresh. But those 2 were my big ones. I never got to play Legends 2 back in the day because I remember seeing the cover of it, but Blockbuster never had it in stock. So I just, as a kid, I was like, well, if it's never there, I'm just going to play other games. But this is a franchise obviously, of the first 2, I just absolutely loved. I didn't realize that there were a lot of other games in the franchise, but they were mostly mobile games. And by mobile, I'm talking like early mobile games, right? Like pre-2010 mobile games where you're on like a flip phone. So it's like, it's just matching stuff. Like it's not like a full-fledged game, but for me, I really liked the first Legends game a lot because it just had this different charm to it. And at that point, I had played a couple normal Mega Man games, right? As a kid, I grew up, borrowing copies of the original Mega Man, the first 3 games, and they were all kind of a little too difficult for me growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got really into like Mega Man X, and like the X games I loved. And then this, and I think it was Mega Man 7, like made me really fall in love with the franchise and kind of went back and played a lot of the ones I kind of never got around to. But yeah, this one's just different, because it's 3D. And, speaking on like Legends 2, the controls for the most part feel fine. You can cheese this game a lot by going in circles around bosses.
Yeah.
And be just fine. I do like, your special weapon that you get. And it's easy if you kind of farm it up and you get your homing missile boosted. Like you can just melt bosses pretty quickly for like the first half of the game. But yeah, it felt weird going back to Tron Bonne because this has been the first time that I've played this game since I was a kid. So, I don't like to test my nostalgia sometimes, but I felt like I had to do that. And, I'm kind of glad I did. Because this time I'm an adult, I'm going in there knowing like what I'm supposed to do. And I can look up a guide nowadays where it's like, here's the optimal thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And, that made me see the game kind of in a different light, right? And knowing the best solution to these puzzles. And it was really cool going back to. Now, for people that don't know, The Misadventures of Tron Bonne is a prequel to the Legends games. And basically, like, Tron Bonne and her team are the enemies in the first Legends game.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of seeing the perspective of them and what leads them into the Legends game. And it's kind of weird structurally how that game is built, because when you get on the map, you're owing money to this like crime lord. So you're doing odd jobs around the world. And like one of them has it where you're supposed to rob houses and buildings in a farm type area or in a town type area. Another one has you doing like puzzle games in a harbor, trying to get boxes with a limited amount of steps to the boat, or you're cave diving, or later on you unlock where you have to steal animals from a farm. Like there's little mini games where you're supposed to make money, and it all kind of leads around that. You know, in between that, you're leveling up your serve bots, which are these little yellow guys that are, you know, your army, I guess you could say. But
Adorable
they have stats.
Robot Lego guys, basically.
Adorable. Yeah, they look like Legos. Exactly. And they all have stats, which you can level up. You can punish them if they start slacking off, which, I don't know, man. As a kid, that felt so wrong. And now I'm like, dude, I feel bad. Because it's like they're the little torture treadmill that they're on. It's like there's spikes that pop up. You can burn them or you can crush them.
Oh
and
my
it's like you have
gosh.
to do this multiple times for them not to be lazy anymore. And I'm like, man, this feels weird that I'm
it's
doing this
messed
to a
up.
serve bot because they're
Yeah.
so nice. They're so cute. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. But yeah, do I feel the same way about this game as I did as a kid? No. And I kind of knew going into this that, you know, playing this would probably change my view a little bit. I still think it's a very fun game. I don't recommend trying to buy a physical of it because it's, I think, like over $400 nowadays, and it's not worth $400. You know, like,
So
you know, play it
crazy.
digitally. Like, it's a fun game, but it's not worth that amount of money. But you know, the story's fine. The action is fine. I, as a kid, I always loved the raiding of the village because you can just level the houses and take all their crystals and stuff. And I still love it nowadays. Like I was looking forward to that stage and had a blast. Do you need to play it before you play the Legends games? No, not at all. But it's kind of fun, you know, to see like more of that universe from a different perspective. And the controls in that felt the same as Legends, so it's pretty, you know, you can jump between the two pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
But I know you more so went over the first Legends, so
Yeah.
what did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, at first it took me a second to really get into it, and it's something that I deal with a lot whenever we go back to some of these older games. And gosh, like tank controls are hard for me. It's really difficult sometimes to see that because and especially in a game like this, like my biggest gripe is when you're in the ruins, right? And you're running around and like it's tank controls, but the camera's a little far away for the tight corridors. So like you don't see an enemy around the corner. You just get like a quick sound cue and then you get hit. And it's like, well, shit, right? Like those kind of things are frustrating, but like you kind of have to be like, okay, this is an older game. This is totally fine. But like once I really let myself kind of just get into it, I did really enjoy it. And I remember the first playthrough, or like the first time I sat down and started playing through this game, I got through like more than half the game in like one playthrough. And I was like, okay, like this is pretty fun, right? And I liked the comedy. I liked the you know, the whole like Tron Bonne character and everything like that. There's a couple enemy types that really pissed me off, but that's also due to the fact that like it's harder to aim in this game. And that's typically like the flying enemies, right? The little mosquito bastards in one of the dungeons. Hated those things just because it was a little frustrating. Now, what they did do, because it is like, I think that they acknowledge the fact that like aiming in this game is not great because it's still old school aiming, right? Like it is tank controls. So there is an auto aim feature, which definitely does help out a lot. But it really does help. I will say that. Now, like as far as like the good of it all, like I love this aesthetic. I didn't think I would as much as I really did, but it's surprisingly like great to look at, right? Like you can see the age for sure, but I love these like little 3D character designs, right? Like I thought everything was so well designed, so interesting to look at. Now, some of the mechanics behind it, other things like that, like the special weapons that you get, like Mega Man, that is one of the core features of Mega Man, right? Getting new blasters, getting new things like that whenever you beat different bosses and everything. But this one doesn't have that. You have to actually manufacture your parts. And I think that's what makes it really interesting. Like nowadays, yes, you can look at a guide and you'll be fine. But this game really did reward exploration. And when I say exploration, I don't mean just in the ruins. It's everywhere, right? Like you have to look through trash cans in the town. You got to play all the 3 mini games at the like TV center, right? Like there's all these little things that you can do that give you parts that you then get to, get new parts for your blaster. You don't even have a helmet in the beginning. You got to like find the parts to make that and all that. So those things are rather interesting to me. Like it did to make it really, really fun. It does ramp up in difficulty, I think, like towards the end, but I think the difficulty really is just the mobility of you. I think that's the hardest part, is creating enough distance to be able to step away for a second to then hit the player or to hit the enemies, So I think that's the hardest part of it all. But overall, I will say that I really did enjoy this. This was a lot better than I thought it would be. I was not expecting a whole lot, and it's voice acted. I didn't realize that either. I was kind of surprised, but it is a Mega Man game. It's a big franchise, so it kind of makes sense that they put some money behind it. And yeah, I guess the one more like minor gripe that was like, come on, really, is that the money disappears instantly. Like whenever you beat an enemy, they drop they drop money and all that stuff and like health pips and everything like that on the ground, and you have to go and physically run and grab them, and they disappear quick. And your character does not turn on a dime. I will tell you that, right? Remember tank controls? So that it was a little bit of a difficult like pinching point for me there. But no, I liked the humor, and even though like the bosses or the enemy types, they had this like menacing feature to them, they still were very cutesy and interesting, So like I do really like the aesthetic, and I like the fact that you can just walk around kicking things. So I was just kicking trash cans and shit all day. So yeah.
Hell yeah, kick the can.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. No, it is a really good game. I'm very, very surprised by it. And I'm kind of surprised that it didn't do as well as they had planned, which really sucks. I mean, it did well enough for them to make a second one, but I still think it's really funny. And there's another little bit of like lore and history that I read behind this. I read up on the Mega Man Legends 2, and with like the ending of it, like the ending, Mega Man ends up on a satellite and he's up there in space basically. And that's like the ultimate cliffhanger, they say, of the Mega Man series. Like that's literally how the game ends, is that you're stuck on a satellite. And so when Mega Man Legends 3 was announced and then canceled, there was a petition that went around in early internet days, right? And it was basically like bring him back from the moon. That's what they called the petition. And it was to bring Mega Man back from space, right? And it's just to try and do all that. But in the early internet days, it got like 100,000 people to sign this petition, which I thought was really cool. But there's still nothing back, right? We haven't heard anything about this franchise at all, which is a little bit of a shame. There's a little bit of a rumor that there could be something in the works. I believe the original creator had mentioned that, like, while there isn't anything official, that they wouldn't be surprised if something comes back, right? So it seems like the Legend series is getting a little bit more love recently, where people are finding it and kind of wanting more of this, right? Which I think is really interesting. But it could also be the fact that there hasn't been there hasn't really been like a banger Mega Man in a while, right? Like, so it might be time to try something new again. And trying something new could be bringing back Legends in this format. So we'll see. I mean, seeing something in like Unreal Engine new, that would be pretty rad.
Yeah, I'm curious because I know Capcom's been very interested in bringing back some of their old stuff, and like you said, for like Mega Man, it's weird because I know Mega Man 11 came out. Was that a few years ago? Or was that a decade ago at this point?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember. It feels like
I'm
a
trying to
decade, but
think.
it was
Let me
probably only a
see.
couple years ago.
2018, so almost a decade.
Almost, jeez. Well, and we are getting a new Mega Man. We will say that.
True. Yeah, I'm curious how that's going to be. Because, I don't know, Mega Man, it's weird how sometimes they always felt really difficult and other times they felt somewhat simple. But,
right.
Yeah, it's just not like a big name like it used to be. When you think about Capcom nowadays, they drifted away from Mega Man. They still kept Resident Evil, now they're the Monster Hunter people and other little smaller stuff. But after seeing like Pragmata do so well, I feel like they're willing to take chances. And even though Mega Man is not a new IP, if this new game does well enough, maybe we'll see more from Mega Man. I would be curious if they would try to do Legends 3 just because they know it's a cult classic. I think they would try to make Legends 1 and 2 like widespreadly available. I don't think they'd remake it, even though Capcom loves doing that. I could see them remastering it and bringing it like to modern stuff, which I think they should do because these games are special and they are of a time. And especially with Legends 2, I feel like controls really well for what it does. Like, yeah, it does have some slight tank controls, but considering other PlayStation games at the time had really bad controls, this plays really well. And it was easy to understand and get down. And, jumping into 2, like I loved 1 a lot. And I do remember there were some issues I had with it back then. But as I was playing 2 recently, I was like, man, like this game just feels so good for an old game. And it looks really good. And, it continues right after the first game. You're dealing with role. And I like that there's like an overworld map that you can kind of fly around on between these kind of like main missions. And it's just a lot more like lively, I guess, and interesting. Some of the bosses are a little more annoying. Very early on in the game, there's a part where you're dealing with flying enemies like bosses and stuff. And it's not bad if you leveled up like your homing missiles, but it's still kind of like, oh man, like I don't know, they're flying too much. They can't really hit it. Like you have to time it just right, and they're like bombing you at the same time. But
and the auto aim is like a little off with these games. Like they have to be in that
a little
right
bit
sweet spot in order for it to really like hone in on anything.
It's like the lock-on system works, but it definitely like it's not like the bullets lock on, right? It's just like your direction does,
right?
But you have to move with it to make it still work. And I feel like in 2, like they kind of cleaned that up a little bit, so it worked better. But there definitely was more of a difficulty spike in 2, I feel like. And I didn't really have too many issues until about halfway through. And I know that you can kind of change the game's difficulty settings by doing different rank dungeons. So you get like a digger license, and you start off, I think a B, and then you can get your class A. And when you do that, enemies get a little bit stronger. You get some other bonuses, and then you can take it a step further, do class S, and it makes the game, even more different. So like you can kind of make the game easier or difficult the way you want, which I respect that. I think that's a really interesting idea. And the story I felt like in 2 was maybe a little more compelling than in the first game. And overall, obviously, if you think you might like these games, it is probably best to play at least the first Legends and then go on the 2. But I think, honestly, you could just play 2. It's a little more refined than the first game, but I definitely feel like the first game has a more charming story, whereas the second game, it's still charming in a different way, but I don't know, it gets the job done. I think these games are special for a reason for many people, and I felt like back in the day when I saw these games, it was like, oh man, like you can take a side-scrolling platformer and make it 3D like this, like, the same way like Mario did. But it made me wonder, like, well, what next could they do with Mega Man? And I know they've done some other experimental stuff, but man, I wish they would bring this back. I think if they clean these up, like a third game would be interesting, but honestly, I'd wonder, like, would people be like actually like super into it? Like I know there's a like core group that love it. Like I would get a day one, but when you're thinking like from their corporate lens, like I feel like the Mega Man series already has become so not forgotten, but it's like remembered. And I feel like with Legends, I feel like that's probably the most vocal community from the Mega Man group that would be happy about this, besides Battle Network. And I don't know. I want them to bring these back for more people to play, for people that don't have access to these games. I think you can get both of them on the PlayStation Store if you have a 3 or a 4. I know they're not on the 5's marketplace, but I know there's like classics usually available on like the 4. So I think people can still download it through that way. But yeah, I mean, I recommend these. They're good third person, shooters, I guess you could call it that. But yeah, with 2, I like that there was so many different choices for different weapon arms, and they all felt pretty different, right? You could leave mines, you could leave missiles, you had an aqua gun, and they all kind of played a role. There was times where the aqua blaster, even though it didn't do damage, it helped with the story, like a mission, like it made it a lot easier.
Or the drill arm that doesn't really do damage, cool. But it's for exploration purposes, right? So like you might be sacrificing the ability to attack, but you are going to be exploring and finding parts for a different weapon, or like some different sets of armor, which is pretty cool. I really think that Capcom should throw everyone for a loop and bring back Command Mission and just be like, yep. So like bring back the weird turn-based 3D game that they made that's kind of like dark and gritty and just see if people resonate with it. Like, I'm wondering if maybe it's just the character style is now kind of, it's remembered, like you said. It's more like, yeah, this is what games used to look like. Remember how cool that was? Yeah, now we got this. Like, I'm wondering if just that style just doesn't resonate with people anymore.
I noticed with the dual override, which is the one that's coming out next year, when I look at the visuals, I don't know, in a weird way, it kind of looks like Astro Boy. Like if you look closely at it, like I think the cell shading on the platforming looks good, but yeah, I kind of
It is giving Astro Boy vibes. I totally see that. But it kind of makes sense, right? Because like Pluto, that just was recently, I won't say like super recently, like last year. It's been a few years now. But that Netflix anime of Astro Boy, the reboot there, was so good. Like phenomenal. If anybody's into anime or like robot mech stuff, that was amazing. But yeah, dual override, I could see that. They kind of like slimmed up Mega Man a little bit. Right? Like he's a little bit more proportional. Things kind of make sense. He's not just a big chippy head. Right? So
yeah.
I'm very curious to see where this goes. I'm excited for it, right? Like, I think from what it looks like so far, I mean, we don't really see much, but it looks interesting. I mean, it'd be pretty rad to see what they come up with. And I mean, I'm hopeful that it is really good, but I will say that, like, maybe Battle Network is just the way to go. I feel like that is a good modernization of the Mega Man system. It was a lot of fun, right? And like, it is turn-based, but like it was pretty dope. And I do like those games a lot. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Battle Network definitely was different. And I think that collection that came out recently did well. I never realized there were that many games in the Battle Network franchise. Right? I think there's like, 5 or 6? Like,
yeah,
crazy number. But yeah, I don't know. That's why I'm thinking, like, man, like, you put Mega Man in a different setting and it's just weirdly more interesting and almost just works too well. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe after this they can do Mega Man in a Resident Evil game or something.
Hell yeah, zombie robots? That'd be awesome. Mega Man fights AI. It's just nothing, just shooting at the sky, screaming like Point Break.
Oh no. It's all your big enemies are what? Deep Seek, GPT. Then you got Dolly, who's like some crazy like fever dream. Like, yeah, it would be pretty sweet.
Actually, that sounds pretty cool. We've had 2 good ideas on here: Willy Wonka, 8-bit psychedelic adventure, and Mega Man versus the AI bots. That would be pretty awesome. Hey, they keep escaping supposedly, so that would be pretty dope.
Yep. Exactly. Mega Man blows up a data center. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Mega Man versus SpaceX. Yeah.
Oh no.
You gotta fight a Tesla
They're
truck,
trying to put data centers in space. We gotta blow it up.
Yeah. Well, they are doing that on the moon, which is kind of scary, actually. They're trying to put a base up there right now.
That's weird.
Yeah. But anyway, all right. Well, that's been July's Game of the Month book club game with Mega Man Legends. A great game, a great series right there that definitely deserves the love and appreciation that it's got. It's a shame that we never got a third one, but who knows what's entailed for the future. It feels like the guys at Capcom just keep throwing Mega Man at the wall and hoping it sticks. And so maybe one of these days they'll just be like, yeah, it's fine. We'll just do Legends again. Whatever, right? Like, it feels like they were just kind of they just want to keep Mega Man relevant, so would not be surprised. But now that leaves us with August's Game of the Month. What will we be playing for this month? And do you want to announce it? It's a weird one. We're going weird this time, right? Going a little bit more lighthearted, a little bit more fun, but do you want to let the listeners know what we're going to be playing for August?
Yeah, oh my god, I'm getting them mixed up already. Jesus.
Well, whatever you say sticks. So hopefully you say the one that we picked.
I know, that's why I'm like, I don't want to say the one I was just about to say, because I'm like, oh my god, I thought I had it written down. I ended up writing the other one down. That is not it. Let's play the guessing game.
Yeah. Let's see what it is.
What does it start with?
Let's flip a coin. No, it starts with an F. If that helps. I don't know if it does. Based off of a famous TV show that we all grew up watching.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Now I remember. We are going to look at beautiful PlayStation 2, Xbox, generation exclusive Futurama, based off of the hit cartoon from that era.
Yeah, The Simpsons. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be playing the Family Guy game now. Yeah, we're going to be playing the Futurama game. It definitely looks a little bit more silly, a little bit more fun, a little bit more lighthearted. It's, we play a lot of long games. We have a lot of games on our list that are just, like, huge. And we want to do something a little bit more lighthearted, more fun this time around. So, yeah, Futurama, here we come. It's going to be our August Game of the Month. And why not play along with us? Right? So you got all of August to get your hands on a copy of Futurama for PlayStation 2 or Xbox. Good luck with that one. We have our ways, but it is what it is. You do what you have to do to get these classic games, right? I mean, come on. It is what it is. Right now on eBay, this game's going for $150. Don't know if it's worth it, but we'll see what happens. But anyway, yeah, we'll talk to you guys next week with some more games and all that good stuff. But until then, bye for now.